Well, good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Local efforts to help people affected by Hurricane Harvey continue here in Worcester. The latest outreach headed by the Diocese of Worcester and Bishop Robert McManus. McManus is asking churches to take up a second collection for relief efforts on either the weekend of September 2nd and 3rd or September 9th and 10th to assist the parishes in the affected area. In addition, McManus has asked for an initial contribution of $10,000 to be made by the Diocese of Worcester to give thanks for the annual Partners in Charity appeal surpassing its goal. Well, tonight we're getting a first-hand look at the impact Hurricane Harvey is having over in Texas. A Houston man is documenting the storm damage while his friends here in Massachusetts are collecting donations for the victims. Our Catherine Andrioli has more.
Furniture up on blocks.
Jim Daniel is a Houston resident with ties to Central Mass. He sent us these cell phone videos of rain flooding his Texas neighborhood. He and his family say it's getting dangerous.
We're trying to hang on as long as we can to see if, we can make it without the water.
It's been so many years since there was anything like this that has happened that, we just want to help them as much as we can.
Tiffany Harris is a Southborough resident who grew up in Houston. She says she remembers summer storms, but nothing as drastic as the flooding that has devastated one of the largest cities in the nation.
Hail the size of golf balls and flooding in the streets, but nothing to the extent like what we're seeing this week down there.
Water is our friend until it's not. And when the water starts rising, the only thing you can do is leave, and you have to leave everything behind.
Honey Hess knows the effects of hurricanes all too well. Growing up in New Orleans, she says this hurricane is impacting her family and friends still living in the Houston area.
Growing up in New Orleans, everyone has what they thought was going to be their life storm, and mine was Hurricane Betsy. That could be us. So it's a good time to be generous and to really get involved.
The First United Methodist Church of Westboro is donating to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey. Pastor John Taylor says there's a serious need for the victims in both Texas and Louisiana.
It 100% goes to the people in need. So that's what we're encouraging folks in our church and anybody else to give through United Methodist Committee on Relief. So that's what we're encouraging, because the need is great, and it goes right to the organization that are down through the churches in Louisiana and Texas.
In Worcester, Catherine Andrioli, Worcester News Tonight.
Well, today marks 12 years since Hurricane Katrina made landfall on the Gulf Coast. The storm killed more than 1,200 people and displaced thousands of others. Now officials in Louisiana and Mississippi are monitoring Tropical Storm Harvey. Bands of heavy rain from Harvey are expected to move through Louisiana this week. Well, we're following the latest developments on an investigation we first told you about last night. A Worcester girl kidnapped, then thrown off a bridge. And tonight we're learning new details about the suspect. Eli Rosenberg has the latest.
People are wondering, the family of the 7-year-old victim hunkering down this afternoon. The suspect, Joshua Hubert, briefly showed his face in court yesterday. Hubert charged with kidnapping the 7-year-old as she slept in a chair early Sunday morning. According to prosecutors, Hubert knew the victim's family. They say he choked the girl and then threw her over this bridge. She then swam to a nearby house and knocked on the door for help. Today, our first good look at Hubert. We know he worked in law enforcement as a dispatcher for both Sterling and Holden Police. According to Sterling PD, he only worked there for 4 months. Most recently, he worked at the Faith School, a day and boarding school in Southborough. The school saying in a letter that Hubert started working in the technology department in July.
Well, a woman is rescued from an early morning fire in Worcester Tuesday. The Worcester Fire Department says the 2 alarm fires started around 1:15 this morning. A woman was able to escape thanks to firefighters who removed her from the roof. The city says the rescue was made more difficult because of an illegal apartment on the 3rd floor. 3 animals unfortunately passed away, but the rest of the tenants made it out safely. Some were seen gathering their belongings Tuesday morning. The landlord says he rushed to the scene when he got the call.
People already on the roof tried to put a fire out, and this is what damaged. And I live here for 11 years, and things had never happened like this. I'm so sad, because there's a lot of memory of me in this house.
The cause of the fire is under investigation. The fire department says it caused about $300,000 worth of damage. Firefighters involved in the rescue will receive commendations Wednesday during a promotional ceremony at City Hall. A Worcester man is held without bail after a dangerousness hearing Tuesday. Prosecutors say 28-year-old Brian Flores is accused of killing 53-year-old David Carlson last month. Carlson was found dead at his home on Homestead Street after firefighters responded to a fire there. Flores is charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon causing serious bodily injury. He's due back in court September 28th. Well, schools across central Massachusetts are opening for class this week, and public safety leaders have a message for students about staying safe when getting to and from school. Our Cam Jandro joins us now with the story. Cam?
Anna, as traffic increases with the start of the school year, so do the chances of student injuries on the road. I caught up with local fire and police departments to get a few tips on how to keep the kids safe. Towns across central Massachusetts are gearing up for their first day of school, and students are being asked to take the proper precautions. In Grafton, Officer Robert Collette advises student drivers to pay attention to the road, not their cell phones.
First thing, make all your phone calls before you leave your residence. Don't use your phone until you get to the parking lot. Pay attention, wear your seatbelt, and keep your speeds down.
According to AAA, having multiple passengers in a car can increase the likeliness of an accident by 5 times. Collette says in Grafton, the middle school and high school are in the same complex. It can make for a dangerous time on the road and a busy time for the department.
Well, we get a lot more accidents because we get a lot more cars on the road. You tend to have kids bringing their siblings to school. So the traffic doubles and triples the number of vehicles during school hours.
Wednesday, Auburn will open the doors to its public schools for the first day of class. Hundreds of kids will hop on the bus to begin the 2017-2018 academic year. Deputy Fire Chief Glenn Johnson says it's crucial students pay close attention to their surroundings when getting onto the bus.
Take that extra minute before they get ready to get on the bus. Give the bus a chance to stop and come to a complete stop. They want to walk at least 10 feet out in front of the bus before they get onto the bus, if they have to cross the street to the bus.
Now, area schools will continue to open their doors throughout the week here in central Massachusetts. Authorities urge drivers and students to be as careful as possible when driving in a school zone. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. Well, Worcester Public Schools had their second day of the school year Tuesday. Students traveled to school in a number of ways, including by foot, which is why the city's police department is reminding drivers to drive slow and use caution around school zones. Our Brittany Schaefer has the details.
With school back in session, Worcester police are asking drivers to be cautious in school zones.
You really have to drive very slowly any heavily congested area over there because all it takes is one mistake for a tragedy to result.
Before and after school, an officer directs traffic outside Burncoat High School. Principal William Foley says the help is needed to protect the 1,100 students coming and going from the high school.
We've got a couple hundred kids of our own from the high school who walk, and many of whom cross the street here, but also we have all of the students from Burncoat Middle School who walk northward up Burncoat Street, so there's an awful lot of foot traffic in the afternoons, and it's a busy road with the cars as well.
Officer TJ Naughton not only directs traffic, but walks the students halfway through the crosswalk.
It's great. Officer Naughton does a great job in the morning and in the afternoon, helping both the cars and the buses get out safely, but also helping our students cross safely.
It's another chance to build relationships with the community, I think.
The school also has a new sign in their crosswalk this year to aid in student safety.
It's a traffic aid that we have in our crosswalk. It alerts drivers to slow down, to be aware of the kids coming both ways across the street.
We have quite a few pedestrian accidents, so it's very important to do whatever we can to avoid those.
Worcester police say they issued 28 citations for crosswalk violations just in the month of July and say they will have even more officers out around crosswalks, all thanks to the Pedestrian Bicycle Safety Enforcement Grant. Outside of Burncoat High School, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Well, an update to a story we first brought you earlier this month. State lawmakers are asking the Massachusetts Department of Transportation to take action after the cancellation of hundreds of drivers' road tests here in central Massachusetts. You may remember a West Boylston driving school who ran into problems after the registry told them they were short-staffed. In a letter to MassDOT, lawmakers are calling on the state to work with local driving schools to improve the way road test requests are processed. They singled out the Saturday tests, which are canceled the most. The letter goes on to say the state should make accommodations for people who have already had tests canceled and are forced to wait as long as 8 weeks for another appointment.